Good morning. Welcome back to Financial Issues. My name's Dan Celia. It's great to be here. And we are still live from the NRB conference, the National Religious Broadcasters Association's big conference here in Nashville, Tennessee. And it's a great conference, and we're excited to be here live. Good stuff. And some great events that is trying to help all of us broadcasters obviously be more Christ-centered, as we all want to be and strive to be, but some good things. Dr. Ben Carson has spoken a couple times, and some others. It's been a good conference. Anyway, we are going to get to your calls to 866-300-9298. We're going to get to as many calls as we can, particularly in this first hour, so give us a call at 866-300-9298 if you'd like to weigh in. Yesterday, we had a good day in the markets. The Dow closed up at 103. Gasoline's coming down right now. So that's good news. I mean, gasoline down to 101. Trying to find it here. 101.54. So that's where gas is right now. But it's very, very interesting. You know, I talked about yesterday, and I forgot to mention this, and I saw some of my notes that I never got to yesterday. And if you remember, I was talking about gasoline going up 12 cents a gallon in the last 2 weeks, and it's likely that it's going to continue to go up. And I want us to stay focused on something. It's something that I've been saying for a long time about oil, when I was saying I don't know if we'll ever see oil below $90. I'd like to see it get back down in and around 90. But one of the things that everybody's ignoring, and I've talked about this for a couple years now, is the fact that, remember, the dollar continues to devalue. So when we see gasoline prices go up 12 cents, or going up in general, we've got to consider, is gasoline going up in price, or is the dollar going down in value? Because there's a very close correlation between that. There always has been, and I believe there always will be. So remember, it's taking more dollars, because our dollar is devaluing globally. It is taking more dollars to buy a barrel of oil. It's taking more dollars. Remember, gasoline, oil, diesel, jet fuel, all of those distilled products coming out of a barrel of oil are all denominated in U.S. dollars, even as they're being exported or moved around. It's all U.S. dollars. Well, the U.S. dollar is devaluing. We all know that. And as that continues, we have to see higher oil prices. We have to see higher gasoline prices. So we are already suffering some of the effects of devaluation. And I wanted to make that point yesterday, and I got sidetracked. Imagine that, me getting sidetracked. But anyway, I got sidetracked and didn't get to that point, and I wanted to bring it out this morning. It looks like stock futures are kind of flat right now, or negative, a little bit negative. Everybody's kind of holding their breath, waiting for the consumer confidence number, the consumer sentiment number. That is the government number. I don't care much about it. I care a lot more about Friday's number, which is the University of Michigan's survey number. But anyway, today at 10 o'clock, we're going to see consumer. I think it's actually before 10 o'clock. It might be 9:45 or 9:30 Eastern time. So we're looking for that consumer confidence number. We'll have to wait and see how that shakes out. But that's what the market's going to wait for certain. So we'll see how they open, when they open, what's going to happen with that. The U.S. has, I talked a little bit about U.S. warning Russia, not to get put any military in the Ukraine. That is going to have a disruption on the economy here in America, believe it or not, because it's going to have a disruption in the global economy. And there's going to be some questions about interruptions of flow of oil, and who else is going to enter into some kind of conflict like that. Of course, I thought it was kind of comical that the president was warning. Really? I sent out on Twitter yesterday, I said, well, you can always draw another line in the sand. He's real good at that. How many lines have we drawn now in Syria? 10? 15? But, again, we have this administration that believes that we can be made stronger by becoming weaker. I don't know how that works, but we're not going to gain any strength, or we're not going to make the weak stronger, or the weak any stronger as we become weaker. We're not going to be able to do anything for peace. Ronald Reagan's thing was peace through strength, not peace through weakness, peace through strength. 866-300-9298, 866-300-9298. 92.98. Chevron's looking to sell some of their holdings here in the U.S. We're going to watch that closely, make sure it stays in U.S. companies. Hopefully it does. As you know, Chevron, you may not know this, but Chevron took a 32% hit last year, had a not so good year. So they're looking to sell some of their midstream kind of infrastructure things here. That would be oil pipelines and storage primarily. So, and natural gas, some natural gas pipelines as well. They're looking to sell off some of that, raise a little money and get out from under it so that they can become a little bit more efficient. So the only reason I bring that out, because we want to watch it. We want to make sure we don't have a lot of, foreign. When you think about the transportation sector, and I'm talking about pipeline, when I say that with oil and natural gas, as the Chinese or other governments might take that over, we've got to be very, very careful in reference to that. So we'll watch that. President Obama yesterday talking about action that we need to take and what he has done and so on and so forth. Here's a clip of what President Obama said yesterday.
The point is, this has to be a year of action, and I'm eager to work with Congress wherever I can. My hope is that despite this being an election year, that there'll be occasions where both parties determine that it makes sense to actually get some things done in this town. But wherever I can work on my own to expand opportunity for more Americans, I'm going to do that.
Now, I only bring this, I play that for this reason. Again, how many times this year, just this year, have we heard, I'll do it on my own? How many times? How many times did we hear in 2008 this presidential candidate saying that we need to fundamentally change America? And yet, the America voted for him. We ignore, I'll do this on my own. And someday, in a year or so, not too far from now, we're going to sit back and say, well, what is this, a dictatorship? Why did we let him do it? It's not like he's not warning us, but we're very good at ignoring that for some reason. Could it be because mainstream media is not going to talk about it? I don't know, but the fact of the matter is, let's not whine and moan when we're sitting here with this dictator wondering what's going on when he's been telling us this for the last 5 years. President Obama hasn't done anything he hasn't told us he was going to do, but we continue to ignore it. The big debate right now is a couple things. One of the big debates in the minimum wage is still raging right now. We thought that was going to go away, or at least I thought that was going to go away until 2014 election, along with the immigration bill. It doesn't look like that's going to happen. One of the issues going on right now in Europe is a problem with deflation. As a matter of fact, the markets in Italy being the third largest economy in the Eurozone, having a huge problem with consumer confidence right now as their consumer confidence takes an unexpected dive. Now, they're blaming the idea on the consumer confidence problems on an unexpected fall in prices. In other words, deflation. Really? I don't think so. Trust me, I don't know a lot about the consumers in Italy, but I'm sure deflation's not on the top of their mind. I mean, it's not something they're thinking about. It's a nice headline, but it's really not the reason. There's other things going on why they're not happy. But the fact of the matter is, all of the Eurozone right now is concerned with deflation, and it's becoming a huge problem, and it continues to go down. So deflation is going to continue to be a problem here. Here's the reason why, one of the reasons why deflation is going to be such a problem, in my opinion. I believe if prices continue to go down, you've heard me say this so many other times, that the Fed is going to have to look to work to get inflation into the market. Deflation is not good. Yes, we as consumers appear to be paying less for some products. The problem is companies are making less, and it really chokes off any hiring that there might be, not that there's been a whole lot. So deflation is not is not a good thing for any economy. And remember, we have not met the goal, according to the government numbers, of the Fed's 2% inflation. So I'm afraid that they're going to get so concerned about deflation, that they're going to start doing things to make sure inflation comes in. That would take them back to buying more bonds. It's going to take the government back to printing more. This week, we are issuing, the government, $106 billion just this week in bills, in T-bills. They're short-term bonds, the 6-month CD kind of stuff. So we're going to be issuing that debt. I don't know who's going to buy it, but I suppose they'll sell. They're planning on selling $106 billion this week. So there's a lot going on, and all of that, as we continue to get in debt, should bring in some inflation. And it's almost the deflation argument is almost a free ticket for the government to continue to print money, because they all know that leads to inflation by devaluing the dollar, but they have somehow figured out that it's not a big deal. Larry Summers yesterday said this about deflation. Clip 98, Devin.
I've been of the view that our primary concerns have to be on the side of slowdown, disinflation, and deflation, rather than on the side of concern about the economy overheating. And certainly the recent employment reports corroborate that.
Well, first of all, Larry, I hate to break it to you, but I don't think there's a whole lot of concern about the economy overheating. That concern is in the minds of academics and liberal politicians. I don't think we have to be concerned about the economy overheating when we don't see businesses spending money and hiring. J.P. Morgan today announced another possible layoff of 15,000 people on top of the 15,000 that they've already laid off. 30,000 people in the mortgage processing area primarily. That's a lot of people hitting the unemployment rolls. And there are other layoff announcements that have continued to be made. There is no real employment in this country. The poverty rate continues to go up. The median income of people continue to go down. We're sitting at 1973 levels for the average worker in this in this country when we factor in inflation. I don't think overheating of the economy is something we need to be too awfully concerned about, but apparently some are. So, I find that amazing. And he says, I think we need to turn our attention towards deflation and not the economy. Yes, if we turn our attention, and that's what I was saying earlier, that's what I'm afraid of. We're going to turn our attention to inflation. Let's take care of this deflation problem. Now, Paul Volcker, who was the Fed chairman during the Carter administration, and you've heard the clip because we have it archived and I play it on a regular basis, of what he said just last year, or late last year, at the Economic Club in New York City, in reference to the idea of thinking that you can control inflation. He did the exact same thing. Nobody knows better than Paul Volcker. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. It didn't work then. It's not going to work now. And let's hope that Janet Yellen is not quite as arrogant as Ben Bernanke, thinking that, they can just control inflation at any time. We are going to get to the phones, 866-300-9298. We've got one line open, 866-300-9298. You're listening to American Family Radio Network, Financial Issues. I'm Dan Celia. We'll be right back.